Greetings, I am Fire Lotus. Welcome to my channel, or for the other people, welcome back. Now, disclaimer, I am not an expert in astrology whatsoever, but in the past 4 or 5 years, I've hyper-focused on Mercury retrograde. I've already had multiple other videos. The first one that I posted, the audio was messed up because I was using a GoPro. But anyways, let's start. Okay, for one, I use the app Astro Matrix. There are hundreds of other ones out there, but it works for me. It gives you a personalized horoscope basically when you enter your information. Now, for the people that don't know what a birth chart is or a star chart, basically imagine a screenshot of all the stars and the planets in the exact moment you were brought into this earth. Depending on that map is depending on certain things that will happen in your life, how your life will carry on, and if you can actually master how to read that birth chart, there's so many things you'll be able to actually do with your life. But it is complicated, trust me. Again, I'm not an expert, but from what I understand with Mercury retrograde, there are 3 things and 3 major things that you should take away from this video. And here are those 3. For one, stop telling the universe, or stop asking the universe, why are you being punished? These are 3 thoughts that I had started changing my life as soon as I incorporated into them. For one, when we ask ourselves, why are we being punished? What makes you better than anybody else on this earth? We all go through stupid, mundane, bad luck, okay? That's the first one. Take yourself off that pedestal. Let that ego go. Secondly, instead of asking, again, why are you being punished? Ask, what lesson is life trying to teach me? When you start incorporating those 2 things into your life, it will start changing everything, okay? The third one, most important one, especially if you have bipolar, depression, anxiety, this is the key. Give yourself, depending on how big the situation is, give yourself anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes to just completely freak the fuck out, run around like a chicken with your head cut off, and then pull yourself back and say, okay, I've let those emotions flow, I've left them out. Now, what is life trying to teach me, and how can I look at this in a different light? Okay. Now, with that being said, start incorporating those into your practice and your life, okay? Now, with that being said, Mercury retrograde. For one, you're not fully going to see all of the effects of Mercury retrograde until it actually goes direct. When it goes direct is when the blinders are ripped off and you see everything that is affected. Now, on top of that, the most important thing, and the reason astrology can be extremely complicated, is not all retrogrades, no matter the planet, is going to affect you in a negative way. I know some people, that's some of the luckiest times in the entire year is during those certain planets retrogrades, right? Okay, we understand that. Now, in general, Mercury retrograde, and the reason it has so much of a audience is because, for one, we live in the 21st century where we have technology, and that's the main thing Mercury will affect. Not the main thing, but it's one of the things that it'll affect. It's over communication and technology and travel. So right before Mercury retrograde, if you can, get somebody to check out your car. Check out your oil pressure, your tires, anything that you have been putting off when it comes to transportation. Start looking at it now. Your phones, all your technology, if you can, back the shit up and be extremely careful. Don't be clumsy or anything like that. If you get a weird feeling that you're about to drop your phone, put that bitch in your pocket. Okay, we got that. Now, another thing that in a perfect world we can, but in the mundane world that we live in right now, we can't. A lot of people always focus on don't get a job, don't sign a contract, don't buy a house, and this is true. And the reason that is because certain things in Mercury retrograde will be amplified and glamour to look like it is the perfect fairy tale come true. That is until Mercury retrograde goes direct. Once it goes direct, the blinders get ripped off, and that perfect little glamored bubble of fairy tale, you start to see the cracks in the foundation, okay? But, like I said, we live in a mundane world, and especially in our day and age with everything currently going on in the world, we don't have time or the energy or the finances to be able to turn down a job. So if you get offered a job, take it. Just know that it may not be the perfect job. And you'll normally see that when Mercury goes direct. Now, what's interesting and bi-curious, my partner used to work in a mechanic shop. I warned them that when Mercury retrograde happens and when it goes direct, you're going to start seeing a trend with certain things. And by God, I had everybody in that thing believing in Mercury retrograde because they did. They started seeing tire issues, battery issues, transmission issues, Now, with this, again, we're going to go back. It depends on what your chart's like. And trust me, I've been using Astro Matrix, and this is not sponsored either. I've been using Astro Matrix for probably about 3 years now, and I still have not been able to fully learn how to read my chart. But it will help, because if you click on each thing, it will give you insights on what to look out for, when to watch your emotions, when to watch what you say, because it could be misunderstood or misconstrued. Okay, so with that being said, Mercury retrograde is basically like a wildfire. You're probably asking me, why the hell are you comparing it to a wildflower? California, perfect example. When we had all those wildfires, yes, it was horrible, like really horrible. But there was something amazing that happens after a wildfire. There's a specific type of flower that the only time it can actually grow is during or right after a wildflower, and that's because, or a wildfire, and that's because it takes that perfect chaotic environment to actually produce the right amount of environment for those seeds to sprout. Now, if you incorporate that into your life, all the areas that Mercury retrograde, if you are affected, that will affect it, it's because the universe, your tarot cards, your oracle cards, your pendulum, and whatever else you do, has basically been giving you red flag after red flag after red flag after neon sign, and you've ignored them. So what does it do? It causes a wildfire. But you're, okay, great, your entire life is going to burn down. No, you're looking at it wrong. What that wildfire is say life is a garden, right? There's this one section that has this really, really exotic looking flower in it that you haven't been able to identify, right? Now, this could be your boss, this could be a job, this could be a friend, this could be a relationship, this could be family members, anything, right? But that exotic flower, right? You've been feeding it because you think it's gorgeous. You think it's everything that you've been wanting. So you've been giving as much fertilizer and food and water possibly. But down on the surface, what it's doing is actually wrapping itself around all the other plants you have in your life, and it's slowly sucking the life out of them. You have a parasite in your life. You've been feeding it, you've been giving it resources, but it's not returning it back to you. It's just taking it and taking it and taking it. During Mercury retrograde, and especially when it goes direct, you'll see this, it's going to affect that area. It's not punishing you. It's trying to tell you that you've been wasting energy, time, and resources on certain areas of your life, and that's when the universe comes in and just rips it out. But in the process of ripping it out and burning it down, you're about to have a brand new clear slate, fertilized land that you can grow anything on. And normally after a retrograde and the direct, normally you start seeing those things that you could not have in your life that you have been wanting and manifesting, because all the toxic little plants that you were feeding that you thought that were helping you, in reality they were sucking the life out of you. That's Mercury retrograde. Now, it does suck, and I understand with everything currently going on in the world, there are so many people that are hyping this up. I've seen so many videos, your ex is going to return. He very well might. They very well might. You already know it's toxic. Don't do it. But if you actually stop fearing, and I have anxiety, so I literally have hyper-focused on retrogrades before. And I realized the more that I hyper-focused on it, the more I was attracting that. At the end of the day, whether you are a magical practitioner or whether you are a normal person, your thoughts shape your reality. With me, I have multiple different types of anxiety disorders. So normally, I will carry, especially during retrograde, I will carry a smoky quartz with me. Why, you may ask? Smoky quartz can be programmed to filter out those anxious thoughts that we have, but we don't want to manifest. And it works. Hold a smoky quartz in your hand and say, hey, act like a dream catcher. Filter all the anxious thoughts that are not mine, but I still have. That way it won't actually filter out. Those thoughts will be filtered, and your actual thoughts and manifestations and intentions that you want to set will be manifested. Now this goes minus how it affects your life. This goes with every planet that goes in retrograde. We're not always affected by them. It depends on where it's at in your birth chart. So if you're scrolling through TikTok or YouTube or any other social media and you see an article, oh shit, life's about to go haywire, it's fear mongering, okay? And we all know about publicity. At the end of the day, there's no such thing as bad publicity because it's still publicity. Now, you can find articles that, and I would double check these articles, you can find articles that will specifically tell you what type of zodiac is actually going to be affected by this. But still, don't freak out. If we go about life, and I know this because, again, I used to be a very, very negative person where that's the only thing that I focused on was darkness. I got more darkness. Once I started changing my way of thinking, is my life better? No. Do I have moments where I want to pull my hair out? Obviously, yes. But I give myself time to freak out. After I give myself time to freak out, come together, get my head straight, and be like, all right, what is it trying to teach me? What is it trying to point out to me? That's all Mercury retrograde is. Now, like I said, be careful with your technology. Back up check out your car. Like, get somebody to check it out, the oil, everything. Anything that you have been putting off that involves technology, communications, vehicles, transportation, any of that, anything that you have been putting off to the very last wire, those are the things that are about to be highlighted. It's not the universe punishing you at all. It's the universe trying to help you out to ascend to your better self. That's all it is. And again, I'm not an expert, but everything I said in this video, they're things that have helped me better understand and not completely freak the fuck out and focus on it. So, I hope this helps anybody who sees this. Like I said, I do have multiple other videos down below that are labeled retrograde. And just look at it as a wildfire. Sometimes it takes a complete chaotic environment for some of the most beautiful, delicate things to evolve. And that's one of the reasons lotus is in my name. Think about a lotus. A lotus has to start out at the mucky bottom, the dark, mucky, muddy bottom of a river or lake. And then as it grows, pushing through all that bullshit, all that darkness, it finally emerges at the very top and blossoms into this amazing flower. That's us in everyday life. I understand that some people, and it looks like, especially due to social media, that certain people have this amazing life, that nothing ever goes wrong, and that may be true. Certain people are dealt certain cards at birth that we don't understand yet, but they're life lessons. And if you accept that your life is going to be shit, and that you're never going to improve, then no offense, you're never going to improve, because you accepted that. Instead of accepting it, fight. Fight, 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 fight. No matter the dark storm that is hovering over you, no matter how dark and how stormy and how much the ocean of life that you're in right now is overturning your boat, just know that it eventually will break. The sun is going to return, the blue skies are going to return, the birds are going to return singing. Sometimes we all have to go through darkness to see and appreciate the light and the positive that we have in our lives. Now, with that being said, all my social links will be posted in my link tree down below. You can find me on all social medias, Fire Lotus the Witch. I have 2 TikToks. I do have a podcast. I recently just interviewed Bloody Mary. Behind that, I interviewed a traditional witch. Behind that, I interviewed a chaotic witch. Behind that, I interviewed an expert on crystals, who is an author. This Thursday, I will be on Lady Gravedancer's Spirit Talk, so definitely check that out. If anything changes, I will make a video to update that, and then shortly after the Spirit Talk, I will be interviewing Lady Gravedancer on my podcast. And so many other amazing interviews are also being set up, so definitely stay tuned to that. I am going to get back into making my videos again, and I know some people do not like the way that I do these, but right now, my computer's on the fritz, so I got to fix that. And right now I only have a phone, and that's what I'm using. So I'm using what the universe is providing with me. So, with that being said, I hope this helps. I hope you took something away from this video. And as always, if anybody ever has any questions, comment below or message me on one of my social media sites. My inbox on all of them are open. I'm here to help as many people as I can. I'm not an expert on anything that I preach, but I've been doing it for 18 years. And yeah, that's me. Like I said, I hope this helps. And also with that, a lot of people have been saying don't practice on this blood full moon eclipse. If you feel the call to practice or do something, do it. So many people forget the one most important part of the word witchcraft. Craft. It is your own individual craft. Nobody outside of your life and your brain dictates that. So if you have a calling to do something, by all means, do it. If you don't feel like working it, don't work it. We don't always have to use the full moons and new moons to our advantage. Some people do, some people don't. It depends on your preference. But until then, I will see y'all later. I am Fire Lotus, signing out.